Welcome into today's show, Saints fans. My name is Girouard, and for today's video, we are getting into a mailbag where questions came in from our subscribers and our supporters during our bi-weekly live show on every other Wednesday at 3 p.m. So if you want to be a part of those in the future, subscribe, turn on your notifications. But before we break it down and get into the show, I need you to like this video if you hate the Falcons, if you hate poverty franchises, and also, honestly, more importantly, if you think blowing a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl is just absolutely hilarious. All right. First question in, coming from a real one, an absolute legend in Courtney. She says, do you think we should move on from Traquan Smith? My short answer, yes. My long answer, here it is. I think that Traquan Smith has been a bust. I don't think he's been the player that Saints fans have wanted him to be. I don't think that he is a player that offers a lot of upside in the passing game. Now, in the run game, he's not bad. He's not that bad. Like, he is a good blocker. You got to give him credit where it's due. I just don't think he is worth bringing back or continuing to bring back. I think that he's a guy that you got to move on from in the near future. Indo, why didn't we draft a tight end? So I have this theory. That because the Saints traded away they traded away Adam Trautman. Sorry, the name was slipping me. They traded away Adam Trautman, so I think that they could go and they might have like an under-the-table handshake agreement with Foster Moreau. If he can, get medically cleared, there's buzz that he could be medically cleared as early as about halfway through the season. Obviously, that's something that needs to be addressed first. Foster Moreau needs to get healthy. I don't want him taking a snap of football in a football game until he is healthy, he beats this diagnosis, and he beats his Hodgkin's lymphoma, situation. It's not a good thing to have. It's a really unfortunate thing to have. That being said, we really are praying for him. We're fighting for, we're rooting him on. We're supporting him here on the channel. But I think that the reason they didn't draft a tight end is there is a plan there, / next year's tight end class has some quality players as well. Brock Bowers being, the main guy I want. So I think that there's, a plan for the future to go and address that need for the Saints. So let's get into the next question. Timmy, Tiger fan. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Hey, Abby, this one's for you. Tigers. Yeah, there you go. So should the Saints trade for CEH? You're probably asking because he's a LSU guy. So CEH, he could be traded. The Chiefs are not picking up his fifth-year option. So he's a player that is on potentially the trade block. They haven't said they want to trade him, but it's one of those things where you could go and trade for him. I don't think it makes sense, though. I really don't think it makes sense because you drafted Kendre Miller. You brought in Jamal Williams in free agency. You still have Alvin Kamara, who's a quality football player. Shout out producer Seeps for the best producing in the world. Alvin Kamara, you're running back 1. Jamal Williams, you're running back 2. Kendre Miller at running back 3. You still have Dwayne Washington. You still have Eno Benjamin. You signed SaRodorick Thompson in as an undrafted free agent. Adam Prentice as a fullback. Basically, my thing about this is this running back room is loaded. It's pretty busy and it's pretty full. I don't think you need to go and add a player like CEH, who honestly, it's been on the decline the last couple of years. So let me know. Would you trade for CEH? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Either way, I want you to share your thoughts, and I want you to explain to me why you would or would not trade for him. Now, this will be the YouTube pinned comment on today's video, so if you get hit with an ad break, take advantage of it. Scroll down, share your thoughts, and let me know. All right, next question coming in from a real one in Romel Duran. He says, how much is the schedule going to affect the record for the Saints? So I think it really could greatly affect the Saints' record. I think that it's one of those things where if you get another just bad break for your schedule, like last season, for example, weeks 1, 2, and 3, you played your division. The last 3 weeks, you played the division. Like, I think that is just such a bad way of laying out his schedule because all of your meaningful football is in the first 3 and the last 3 weeks when that may be when you're playing either A, your best or your worst football. I don't think it makes sense to have, your division games, which at the end of the day, it's not like the games in the middle of the season don't matter, but those are the games that determine whether or not you go to the playoffs more than anything. So I think that it really does affect how the record could pan out. That being said, I really hope that the Saints don't find themselves in a position that they were last year where they had to play, all of their meaningful games at the very first 3 weeks and the very last 3 weeks, because it doesn't make sense. And honestly, really bad malpractice. Roger Goodell clearly has a vendetta against the Saints. So, that's nothing new, though. Anyway, it's all jokes. Bear with me. It's YouTube. Again, don't take it too seriously. Jerry Tolley, what is your record prediction? I think the Saints win 10 to 11 games. I think that the floor for them is 8 wins. I would say the ceiling is 12. 11. I'll say 11. 12. I'll go 12. I'm not gonna fade myself. I'm gonna double down and say 12. I think that they could win up to 12 games. They do have a very easy schedule. They do play some pretty bad teams. The division, while it got better, it's still not going to be great, I don't think. The Bucs, they're just going to be abysmal. To be honest, I'm not scared of playing against Bryce Young twice a year. I'm just not afraid of midgets. That's just my thing. If that's offensive, I'm sorry. But, I'm just not afraid of Bryce Young. I'm really not. He was good with Alabama, but he isn't, my point is, if Caleb Williams was in this draft, he would go over Bryce Young. I just think that there's better options out there, and I think that he's going to be a good player for Carolina, just not in the first. It's going to take him a little bit to get to where he needs to be. And also, who's he going to throw the ball to? Adam Thielen, who's kind of washed, and then, DJ Chark? No, I'm not worried about him. I think that they win, I'll say 11-6 is my record prediction as a whole. Bourbon Living, is that oh yeah, that's a Patos Hurricane. I love it. Who is your favorite Saints UDFA signing? Shout out Producer Seeps for killing the game per usual. All right, so we have this picture. The Aussie punter out of Miami. I love this kid. I am so high on this kid. Blake Gillikin, I'm sorry, but give me Lou Hedley on the Saints roster on the 53-man right this second. This guy not only won, just look at him. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's a stud. Look at those tats. That's so freaking cool for a punter. He is icy. This guy just oozes swagger. Look at that mustache. Just dog. Anyway, not only is he just looks super dope, man, is he just a really entertaining and really just intriguing guy to, just as a football player and to kind of look at, honestly. 206 punts at Miami. He averaged 45.2 yards per punt. And he had 77 punts drop inside the 20. So not only is he an intriguing guy and a fun guy, but he is a quality punter, and I think that he would be awesome. And fun fact about him, he went and got a tattoo shop in Bali with one of his boys so they could, get tatted up and get inked up a little bit more. And then he sold his stock in that to move to the States to play football. 28-year-old guy, played Aussie-style football. Aussie, oi, oi, oi. All right, next one. I really like this kid. Shaq Davis, UDFA, out of South Carolina State, He is 6'4". He has really good size, great speed. That being said, he had too many drops. In 2022, 101 targets, 45 receptions, 934 yards. He averaged 20.8 yards per catch. 20.8 yards per catch. I mean, that's wild. He had 11 touchdowns, but he did have 11 drops. So you got to address the drops there, get some better coaching, and you know what? Maybe he'll pan out and make the roster. Also, honorable mention, name is slipping me, got him out of Montana. He tied Rashid Shaheed's kick return record. The name is slipping me, and I know it's going to come back to me as soon as this video is done, so I apologize, but return specialist out of Montana, also an honorable mention. So Who Dat Nation, subscribe today, turn on your notifications, and help us out by joining our squad. And if you have recently subscribed, if you subbed during the NFL draft with one of the videos that we put out during the draft, breaking down the picks or breaking down our draft grades, type new in the comment section because I want to give you guys some extra love in a future video, give you guys some shout outs to a handful of y'all that have just recently subscribed and joined our squad here. We really appreciate all of y'all who have subbed in the past few days. We've picked up over 500 subs in the last week, and that's a testament to you guys. Y'all are awesome. So keep the train going, keep the momentum up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Type new if if you're a new subscriber. Help us out, let us know. All right, Kendall Taylor, hashtag Saints, after drafting a whole steal at A.T. Perry, excuse me. Should we go after Hunter Renfrow and place him in the slot? I'm going to say no. I don't think you need to go and add Hunter Renfrow. I like that this depth chart, this wide receiver group is young. You have quality players. Chris Olave, he's already an 1,000-yard guy. I expect him to take a huge step this year. Rashid Shaheed, give him more than half a season of regular opportunities. I think he could be a dog. Juwan Johnson, great pass catcher at the tight end position. You also have Michael Thomas back, and obviously there's the injury concern, but you're banking on him playing this year. But if he doesn't play, sure, maybe go and trade for him before the deadline. But I don't think I would want to bring him in during the offseason because you also have guys like Bryan Edwards. You have guys like Shaq Davis, like we just mentioned. A lot of players that could be competing for roster spots. A.T. Perry, you traded up in the 6th to go and get him. He fell. That is a massive steal, as Kendall said. I would love to see A.T. Perry make this roster. And at the end of the day, I don't think you need to trade to go and get Hunter Renfrow to add to the depth chart. Excuse me. So, this is a good one. Bama sucks from the Bama Crimson Turd. That's pretty good. Should the Saints trade, or thoughts on the Saints trading for Devin White? So, Devin White's a quality player. I think the stats don't do him justice, though. I think he's a stat packer. Like, he's a tackling machine. The numbers look good, but he's a liability in pass coverage. He is a wildly big liability. He also is one of those players that, yeah, maybe a change of scenery would work. Maybe like playing in Louisiana again might make sense for him. It depends on what the Bucs are asking for him. Sure, I would make a call. I'd put in a call and see what's up. But in terms of trading for a linebacker, I think I'd rather go Patrick Queen. I just think he might be a little bit more he just might be all around a little bit more polished. But I think that it could be an interesting option. So next things next. Do you want the Saints to bring in Devin White? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know in the comment section because I am curious as to what you guys have to say. I think that they shouldn't, but I would at least call him and see what's up. Show's not about me, though. It's all about you, so you tell me. Type Y for yes, type in for no. All right, next question coming in from Black Dollars University. Bryce Young will have how many passing yards against the Saints for Game 1 versus Carolina? So, I think in the first game against Carolina, Bryce Young will put up, let's say, 165 yards. I think he plays well. It just depends on when in the season they play first. Like, if they play the Panthers week 1, then I think that he would have, like, 150 yards. Like, I just think it's a big adjustment for him to go and play against a really stout defense with the Saints as well and try and perform well. But if it's, like, week 5 or 6 where he kind of gets some reps under, he gets practice, and he can understand the feel and the speed of the NFL game compared to the college game, I think that he could play a little bit better. So I think if it's within the first 4 weeks, I think he passes for less than 200 yards. If it's after that, I think he could, as bad as it sounds, I think he could do, maybe not pass for 200, but all-purpose run and pass because he's just a dynamic player. All right, Anubis, hashtag Saints. Any thoughts on what could happen with Smoke Monday? I was really excited about him last year. I was too. I was really pumped to get Smoke Monday in New Orleans as a UDFA out of Auburn. The safety, he's going to be a fun guy to have around. He's definitely going to be competing for a spot on the depth chart. You have Marcus May, you have Tyrann Mathieu, and Marcus May didn't necessarily play all that great last year. He showed flashes of playing good, but he didn't consistently play great. Tyrann Mathieu is awesome. We love Tyrann Mathieu. But the Saints drafted Jordan Howden. They also brought in Jonathan Abram. You still have JT Gray on the roster. Smoke Monday is really going to have to compete for a roster spot. And it sucks because he tore his ACL last year. I really think that he could have had a good chance of making a depth spot or at least been called up, part of the way through the season. But I think that he's going to really need to compete to earn a spot on the 53-man roster, especially considering you drafted a safety in Jordan Howden out of Minnesota. I almost said Mississippi, out of Minnesota. I'm really excited about him as well. I really want Smoke Monday to make the roster because, one, coolest name in sports. Two, he was pretty good at Auburn. So I think it makes sense for him to make the roster and be a contributor. I just don't know because, like I said, there's a really, really stacked safety room in New Orleans. So, Who Dat Nation, thank y'all for hanging out with us today. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week coming up later this week. So, if you guys enjoyed today's content, help us out and help us reach our goal of 15,000 subscribers by kickoff of week 1 of the 2023 NFL season. Subscribe, turn on your noties, share the video, drop a like, and most importantly, Who Dat Nation, y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.